All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I am VC Pramod and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls upon all eligible persons to get COVID precaution dose as India starts administering booster dose. Government says no COVID test required for contacts of confirmed cases unless identified as high risk. Railway Minister directs division heads to use railway hospitals and health infrastructure for corona treatment. Odisha Cabinet decides to raise upper age limit for government jobs from 32 to 38 years. Government procures over 532.86 lakh metric tons of paddy during ongoing Kharif marketing season. Captain Amrinder Singh's party, the Punjab Lok Congress, allotted hockey stick and ball as election symbol for assembly polls. White House says US closely monitoring India-China border dispute, expresses concern over Beijing's attempt to intimidate its neighbors. 79th Golden Globe Awards announced, The Power of the Dog bags Best Film and Best Director awards. And in cricket, third and final test between India and South Africa to begin today at Cape Town. As the number of COVID-19 cases are rising fast in several parts of the country, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, get vaccinated. As the new Omicron variant of coronavirus is causing concern, please continue to follow the 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is being conducted every Monday and Tuesday in the morning news since the 16th of August last year and will continue till the 15th of August this year. India Post has joined hands as the logistics partner with All India Radio News for the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Recalling our yesterday's question, Mahatma Gandhi in his first major public appearance in India said, "Our salvation can only come through the farmer. Neither the lawyers, nor the doctors, nor the rich landlords are going to secure it." When and where did Gandhi deliver this speech? The correct answer is in 1916 at the opening of the Banaras Hindu University. Gandhiji's speech at Banaras in February 1916 was at one level merely a statement of fact, namely that Indian nationalism was an elite phenomenon, but at another level it was also a statement of intent. The first public announcement of Gandhiji's own desire to make Indian nationalism more properly representative of the Indian people as a whole. AIR News got an overwhelming response from its listeners across the world, and the one lucky winner of the quiz is Ansar Ali from Shahadra, Delhi.
I am very much happy to be a winner of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav quiz program. I have been listening AIR radio news regularly since my childhood. It gives reliable and authentic news. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is a very wonderful program. It gives immense knowledge on our struggle for freedom fought by our great leaders. I am very much delighted to be a winner of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and would like to request other listeners to be a part of it. Thank Akashvani to chosen me as a winner.
And coming to our 44th question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz in English. Which freedom fighter published a monthly magazine called Free Hindustan to educate the Indian immigrant population of British Columbia about the exploitative policies of the British Indian government? I repeat the question. Which freedom fighter published a monthly magazine called Free Hindustan to educate the Indian immigrant population of British Columbia about the exploitative policies of the British Indian government. Listeners can send their responses to the questions over WhatsApp on 88265 I repeat, 88265 or through email on amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. I'll repeat the email, amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. And now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has requested all those who are eligible to get COVID precaution dose as India began administering precaution doses. He also applauded those who have got vaccinated. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said the vaccination remains among the most effective means to fight COVID-19. On the first day of precaution dose for the identified categories of beneficiaries for COVID vaccination yesterday, more than 9 lakh doses were administered to the eligible age group. India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 152 crore 78 lakhs. More than 82 lakh vaccine doses were administered till 7 p.m. yesterday. Administration of precautionary dose of COVID-19 vaccine for healthcare and frontline workers and those over 60 years of age with comorbidities began across the country yesterday. Talking to AIR News, in charge of COVID vaccination center at RML Hospital, New Delhi, Dr. Neelam Roy said that an overwhelming response is being seen among the people for receiving the precaution dose.
प्रिकॉशन डोज के लिए वही लोग एलिजिबल हैं जिनके सेकेंड डोज के बाद 9 महीने पूरे हो चुके हैं या 39 वीक्स पूरे हो चुके हैं और प्रिकॉशन डोज का वैक्सीन वही सेम वैक्सीन होगा जो उनको फर्स्ट और सेकेंड डोज में मिला है। जैसे हमारे यहाँ पर सिर्फ कोवैक्सीन आता है तो हम सिर्फ उन्हीं को कोवैक्सीन देंगे जिनका फर्स्ट एंड सेकेंड डोज कोवैक्सीन मिला है। तो सेम वैक्सीन से ही प्रिकॉशन डोज भी सेम वैक्सीन का ही होगा।
The Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, has said that contacts of COVID-19 patients do not require testing unless identified as high risk based on age or comorbidities. This was stated in an advisory issued by the ICMR on purposive testing strategy for COVID-19 in India. The advisory further states that testing is not required for asymptomatic individuals in community settings, patients who stand discharged as per home isolation guidelines, patients discharged from a COVID-19 facility, and individuals undertaking interstate domestic travel. The ICMR said a person having cough, fever, sore throat, loss of taste or smell, breathlessness and other respiratory symptoms must be tested. The central government has asked states and union territories to take adequate steps to ramp up the health infrastructure and deployment of healthcare workers to effectively deal with the rising number of COVID-19 cases. In a letter written to all states and union territories today, Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan asked the states and union territories to earmark different categories of beds in private clinical establishment for COVID care. The states and UT administrations have also been asked to ensure that the charges levied by such health facilities must be reasonable. The centre has also urged to upgrade COVID care centre beds to oxygen-supported beds.
Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav directed the senior officials of various railway zones and divisions to facilitate use of railway hospitals and health infrastructure for general public in context of the recent surge in COVID cases across the country. In a virtually review meeting yesterday, Mr. Vaishnav examined the various points related to COVID preparedness. These points are railway hospital infrastructure, pediatric ward functioning, vaccination of children and staff of railways, including provisioning of booster dose to frontline workers of railways and availability of medicines, oxygen supply, zeolite stock and other necessary medical support and functioning of ventilators, liquid medical oxygen tanks and other equipment which is critical in COVID treatment. Talking to AIR News, Minister of State for Railways, Darshana Jardos said,
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र भाई जी के नेतृत्व में जब हम लोगों ने कोरोना के लिए रिकॉर्ड बना दिया है, हम लोग जो कोरोना की लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर ज्यादा केस बढ़ जाए तो इसके लिए जिस तरह से 3G वेव में सभी अस्पतालों को जो रेलवे से रिलेटेड है उसको भी ऑक्सीजन के साथ में बेड की सुविधा और आइसोलेटेड वार्ड तैयार करने के लिए ऑर्डर दे दी गए। GM और DRM को जो भी हॉस्पिटल है उसकी सुविधा बढ़ाने के लिए, जिस तरह से पहले भी कोविड के टाइम में रेलवे खड़ा था, ऑक्सीजन टैंकर भी लेके जा रहे थे, लेकिन रेलवे की हॉस्पिटल भी अच्छा काम कर रही है, तो उसको भी निर्देश दिए गए।
Union government has termed the media reports as fallacious and ill-informed, wherein it was alleged that PSA plants installed in Chhattisgarh through PM CARES funds are not being maintained well. Health and Family Welfare Ministry said these media reports are not based on facts. The Union Health Ministry clarified that 122 PSA plants are being installed from various sources in Chhattisgarh, of which 49 plants were installed and commissioned under PM CARES. BJP President JP Nadda has tested positive for COVID-19. In a tweet, Mr. Nadda said he is feeling fine and has isolated himself on the advice of doctors. Minister of State for Defence Ajay Bhatt has also tested positive for COVID with mild symptoms.
In our bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Dr. Piyush Ranjan of AIIMS New Delhi will be with us tonight to answer queries related to the coronavirus. Listeners can ask questions to the expert from 9:30 p.m. on telephone number 011 2342 1230. India's Skills 2021 national competition concluded yesterday with more than 200 participants being felicitated by the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. As many as 270 winners of the competition were felicitated with 61 gold, 77 silver, 53 bronze and 79 medallions of excellence. The Odisha topped the chart with 51 winners, followed by Maharashtra with 30 and Kerala with 25 winners.
Odisha government has decided to raise the upper age limit for entry to state government services from 32 to 38. However, it will be effective only for the recruitment advertisements made in the calendar years 2021 and 2022 or to be made in 2023. This decision was taken in a cabinet meeting held under the chairmanship of Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik yesterday in the state capital Bhubaneswar. The decision was taken to enable the youth to avail opportunities to enter government jobs who could not appear the recruitment examinations because of unavoidable reasons and stood age-barred during the last 2 years.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls upon all eligible persons to get COVID precaution dose as India starts administering booster dose. Government says no COVID test required for contacts of confirmed cases unless identified as high risk. Railways Ministry directs division heads to use railway hospitals and health infrastructure for corona treatment. Odisha Cabinet decides to raise upper age limit for government jobs from 32 to 38 years. Government procures over 532.86 lakh metric tons of paddy during ongoing Kharif marketing season. Captain Amarinder Singh's party, the Punjab Lok Congress, allotted hockey stick and ball as election symbol for assembly polls. White House says U.S. closely monitoring India-China border dispute expresses concern over Beijing's attempt to intimidate its neighbors. 79th Golden Globe Awards announced The Power of the Dog bags Best Film and Best Director awards, and in cricket, third and final test between India and South Africa to begin today at Cape Town. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back to the morning news. A quantity of over 532.86 lakh metric tons of paddy has been procured in the ongoing Kharif marketing season till now. The paddy procurement is progressing smoothly in the procuring states and UTs. So far, highest procurement has been reported in Punjab with over 1 crore 86 lakh MT. More than 64 lakh farmers have been benefited with MSP value of over 1 lakh 4,000 crore rupees till now. Former Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh's recently formed political party, Punjab Lok Congress, has been allotted hockey stick and ball as election symbol for the February 14th Assembly elections. This was stated by the party chief Captain Amarinder in a tweet. The former Chief Minister floated Punjab Lok Congress in November last year after he quit the Congress. Captain Amarinder's Punjab Lok Congress is contesting Assembly elections in alliance with the BJP and Akali Dal Sanyukt.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate 11 new government medical colleges across Tamil Nadu and new campus of Central Institute of Classical Tamil in Chennai tomorrow. The new medical colleges are being established at an estimated cost of about 4,000 crore rupees. Of this amount, around 2,145 crore rupees has been provided by the Union government and the rest by the Tamil Nadu government. Establishment of these medical colleges is in line with Prime Minister Modi's constant endeavour to promote affordable medical education and to improve health infrastructure in all parts of the country. The News Services Division brings you glimpses of the year 2021 in its special Year-Ender series, The Year That Was. Today we shall take a look at the Aspirational Districts program, which was launched by Prime Minister Modi in January of 2018. It is part of the government's efforts to raise the living standards of its citizens and to ensure inclusive growth for all. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Ever since the launch of the program, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has constantly motivated and enthused district collectors to deliver their best at the field level. Our correspondent has filed this report.
A total of 117 aspirational districts have been identified by Niti Aayog. Due to concerted efforts made under the Aspirational Districts program, previously neglected districts, including those in remote locations and those affected by left-wing extremism, have experienced more growth and development in the last 3 years. According to a report published by the United Nations Development Program last year, the scheme has been immensely successful in propelling development among the backward districts. According to the report, health and nutrition, education, agriculture and water resources have registered massive improvement. Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
ये जो स्वराज आया है उसे हम मजबूती से अपने पास रखेंगे ताकि कोई दूसरा हमारी तरफ टेढ़ी नजर भी उठाकर देखे तो हम उसका पूरी तरह से मुकाबला कर सकें.
In today's episode, we remember freedom fighter and second Prime Minister of India, Lal Bahadur Shastri, who died on the 11th of January, 1966. He was deeply influenced by Swami Vivekananda, Mahatma Gandhi and Annie Besant, and joined the Indian independence movement in the 1920s under the guidance of Mahatma Gandhi. He led the country during the Indo-Pakistan War of 1965 and inspired the Indians with the slogans Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan.
Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan.
Lal Bahadur Shastri was born near Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. Dedicated to studies from childhood, Shastri walked many miles to his school in Varanasi without shoes, even when the streets burned in the summer heat. As he grew up, he was drawn towards the Indian independence movement. At the mere age of 11 years, he was greatly impressed by Mahatma Gandhi.
In January 1921, when Lal Bahadur was in the 10th standard and 3 months from writing the final examinations, he attended a public meeting in Banaras hosted by Gandhi and Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. Inspired by the Mahatma's call for students to withdraw from government schools, Shastri withdrew from the school the next day and joined the non-cooperation movement. Later, he joined the Kashi Vidyapeeth in Varanasi. There, he came under the influence of the greatest intellectuals and nationalists of the country.
Shastri enrolled himself as a life member of the Lok Sevak Mandal founded by Lala Lajpat Rai and began to work for the betterment of the so-called lower castes under Mahatma Gandhi's direction at Muzaffarpur, Bihar. Lal Bahadur Shastri led many defiant campaigns during the civil disobedience movement and spent a total of 7 years in British jails.
When the Congress government was formed in 1946, this little dynamo of a man was called upon to play a constructive role in the governance of the country. He was appointed Parliamentary Secretary in his home state of Uttar Pradesh and soon rose to the position of Home Minister.
He moved to New Delhi in 1951 and held several portfolios in the Union Cabinet.
After the death of Jawaharlal Nehru, Shastri became Prime Minister of India on the 9th of June 1964.
हमारे सभी मतभेद एक राष्ट्र और एक देश की पृष्ठभूमि में हल होने चाहिए। आइए हम सब इसका प्रयास करें ताकि हमारे अंदर एकता हो। तो हमें ऐसे रास्ते निकालने होंगे जिनसे ज्यादा मेल जोल और बातचीत कर समझौते और शांति के साधन खोजे जा सकें। संगठन और अनुशासन से ही राष्ट्र बलवान होते हैं।
Shastri's most serious test as Prime Minister was the 1965 Indo-Pak War, and he handled the Pakistani actions with tact, firmness and a quiet determination, securing the support of political leaders, bureaucracy as well as the armed forces. He addressed the nation after the end of the India-Pakistan War, reiterating that any more aggression from Pakistan will be met with appropriate retaliation.
आज सवेरे 3:30 बजे भारत और पाकिस्तान में लड़ाई बंद हो गई। पाकिस्तान ने हमारे देश में हमलावरों को 5 अगस्त को भेजकर ये लड़ाई शुरू की थी। अब ब्लैकआउट नहीं रहेगा, अंधेरा नहीं रखा जाएगा, लेकिन ये न समझिए कि पूरी शांति हो गई। हमें गंभीरता से विचार करना है कि इस समय क्या स्थिति है और आगे क्या हो सकती है। हम तो चाहते हैं और हमारी सदा ख्वाहिश रही है कि भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच शांति रहे, लेकिन हम असलियत की ओर से भी आंखें बंद नहीं कर सकते। मैं साफ कह देना चाहता हूं कि अगर पाकिस्तान जम्मू और कश्मीर राज्य पर, जो भारत का अटूट हिस्सा है, या हमारे किसी और इलाके पर फिर से हमला करता है, तो हम उसका पूरी ताकत और मजबूती से मुकाबला करेंगे।
Shastri died in Tashkent, Uzbekistan on the 11th of January 1966, one day after signing a peace treaty to end the 1965 Indo-Pakistan War. Lal Bahadur Shastri's success lay in his approach of taking decisions based on consensus after extensive discussions. We salute the great leader.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India, Jago Grahak Jago. Union Environment, Forest and Climate Change Minister Bhupender Yadav talked to U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate John Kerry and discussed a wide range of issues, including India's ambitious climate action targets announced during COP26. During the telephonic conversation, both leaders discussed to take forward the India-US climate action and finance mobilization dialogue through the 4 identified pillars: climate ambition, finance mobilization, adaptation and resilience, and forestry.
The White House has said that the U.S. is closely monitoring India-China border dispute and expressed concern over Beijing's attempt to intimidate its neighbors. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said that President Joe Biden's administration continues to support dialogue and peaceful resolution of border disputes between China and India. Expressing concern over China's attempt to intimidate its neighbors, Psaki said the U.S. will continue to stand with its partners against Beijing's behavior in the region.
The 79th edition of the Golden Globe Awards has been announced. While The Power of the Dog movie won the 2 biggest awards, one of Best Film in Drama category and the other for Best Director honored upon Jane Campion. Will Smith took home his first Golden Globe of the Best Film Actor for his movie King Richard. Nicole Kidman won her 5th Golden Globe for Best Film Actress for Being the Ricardos. West Side Story, directed by Steven Spielberg, won major awards that included Best Film in Comedy Musical segment, Best Film Actress for Rachel Zegler and Best Supporting Actress for Ariana DeBose. Andrew Garfield won Best Film Actor Award in Comedy Musical segment for Tick Tick Boom. In cricket, the third and final test between India and South Africa will begin at Cape Town today. During a pre-match press conference, Indian captain Virat Kohli said he will return to the team for the series-deciding third test as he is absolutely fit. He had missed the second test because of an upper back spasm.
In badminton, the BWF 2022 Yonex Sunrise India Open Tournament is beginning today in New Delhi with players like Kidambi Srikanth, PV Sindhu, Saina Nehwal and Sai Prateek set to take on their respective opponents in the round 32 matches.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for today. Srinagar will have partly cloudy sky. Temperature will hover between -1 and 6 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have mainly clear sky. Leh is likely to have partly cloudy sky. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky. Muzaffarabad will have sunny sky. The national capital Delhi will have moderate fog. The minimum temperature was 7 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 19 degrees. Mumbai minimum temperature was 13 while maximum will be around 27 degrees. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The city observed minimum temperature of 18 and maximum of 26 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Almost all dailies have covered the security lapse during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Punjab last week on their front pages. Former SC judge to probe PM's security lapse is the lead in the Asian Age. SC to constitute panel to probe PM security breach, says the Hindu. Booster is the secret of their energy, says the Times of India. COVID precautionary shots start for priority groups. Health and frontline workers and citizens above 60 years of age are eligible to take the jab, reports the Pioneer. Novak Djokovic wins court battles to stay on in Australia, reports the Times of India. Novak's interview, a night at the airport, says the Hindustan Times, and the court verdict that allowed Novak Djokovic to stay on in Australia. 17 more deaths in city, bars, restaurants shut for dining is the lead in the Times of India. No lockdown in Delhi, but only takeaways for eateries, bars, reports the Pioneer.
Before we end the bulletin, a reminder of today's question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Which freedom fighter published a monthly magazine called Free Hindustan to educate the Indian immigrant population of British Columbia about the exploitative policies of the British Indian government? I repeat the question. Which freedom fighter published a monthly magazine called Free Hindustan to educate the Indian immigrant population of British Columbia about the exploitative policies of the British Indian government? WhatsApp your response on 88265 46262 or through email on amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. I repeat the email, amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. Celebrate 75 years of India's independence by participating in Amrit Mahotsav Quiz with AIR News. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls upon all eligible persons to get COVID precaution dose as India starts administering booster dose. Government says no COVID test required for contacts of confirmed cases unless identified as high risk. Railway Minister directs division heads to use railway hospitals and health infrastructure for corona treatment. Odisha Cabinet decides to raise upper age limit for government jobs from 32 to 38 years. Government procures over 532.86 lakh metric tons of paddy during ongoing Kharif marketing season. Captain Amrinder Singh's party, Punjab Lok Congress, allotted hockey stick and ball as election symbol for assembly polls. White House says U.S. closely monitoring India-China border dispute, expresses concern over Beijing's attempt to intimidate its neighbors. 79 Golden Globe Awards announced. The Power of the Dog bags Best Film and Best Director awards. And in cricket, third and final test between India and South Africa to begin today at Cape Town. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.